I absolutely dislike that man immensely just because of his arrogance. I don't like arrogance. Like that little mayor, that horrible little mayor. Have you ever met anyone as arrogant as that in all your life?
This is unbelievable. Here's what Jim Davidson just revealed about Sadiq Khan. You're not going to believe this. Out of nowhere, comedian and TV legend Jim Davidson has just thrown the political world into chaos, and the target of his latest comments? London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Now, Jim Davidson isn't exactly known for keeping quiet. He's blunt, unfiltered, and he says what a lot of people think but are too afraid to say out loud. But this time, what he's revealed about Khan's leadership has people stunned, and honestly, a lot of Londoners are nodding along. Because what started as a casual talk show moment has now turned into a national talking point about what's really going on in London. It all began during an interview on Davidson's online show, where he was discussing how London has changed dramatically over the years. The tone was sharp but reflective. He talked about safety, community, and the sense that the city just doesn't feel the same anymore. And then, in his usual direct style, he turned his focus on the man in charge, Sadiq Khan. Davidson said, "We used to walk through London and feel proud. Now, people are scared to even speak their minds without being labeled or judged. And that's not freedom, that's fear." You could almost hear the air get sucked out of the room. He didn't stop there. He went on to question the direction of Khan's policies, not in a personal attack, but in a broader sense of whether City Hall has lost touch with ordinary Londoners. When leadership starts to feel distant from the people, Davidson continued, you've got a problem. And right now, that's exactly what we've got in London. Now, that may not sound explosive at first glance, but what made it hit hard was who said it and when. Jim Davidson isn't a politician. He's a voice from the entertainment world who built his career speaking directly to working-class Britain. So when he calls out the state of London under Khan's leadership, it doesn't sound like spin, it sounds like frustration from the ground level. And online, that frustration caught fire. Within hours of the clip being uploaded, it was shared thousands of times. Hashtags like hashtag Jim Davidson and hashtag Sadiq Khan started trending as viewers from both sides weighed in. One Twitter user wrote, "Finally, someone said what we've all been thinking. London's not the same, and no one in power seems to care." Another shot back with, "Jim Davidson's out of touch, blaming Khan for everything isn't fair." But the conversation was alive, emotional, raw, and impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, City Hall's response was noticeably calm but firm. A spokesperson for the mayor's office reportedly said, Sadiq Khan remains focused on building a safer, greener, and fairer London, not on responding to personal commentary. It's a professional answer, but many online saw it as dismissive. Because here's the thing, Davidson wasn't making personal attacks. He was talking about public frustration. And that's where this story takes on a deeper layer. For years, there's been a growing divide between how politicians talk about London and how ordinary people experience it. Khan talks about progress and vision. But residents talk about crime, cost of living, and feeling unheard. Jim Davidson just voiced that gap out loud, on camera, and without apology. To understand why this hit so hard, you need to look at the bigger picture. Sadiq Khan's leadership has been under fire for various reasons, from transport costs, to policing, to environmental policies like the ULEZ expansion, which sparked outrage across outer London boroughs. For many drivers and small business owners, ULEZ wasn't seen as a green initiative. It was seen as a financial burden. And when Davidson brought that up during his talk, he put it bluntly. You can't keep taxing people who are already struggling and then call it progress. That's not leadership, that's detachment. That one line resonated deeply. Because no matter which side of the political fence you sit on, everyone understands what it feels like to be squeezed by decisions made far above your head. Even political commentators started weighing in. One journalist wrote, "This isn't about Davidson versus Khan. It's about the feeling that London's leadership doesn't listen anymore." Another said, "Davidson might not be a policymaker, but he's tapped into something real, the exhaustion people feel with being told everything's fine when clearly it's not." And that's the heart of it. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about the fact that Londoners' real, everyday people are desperate to be heard. Interestingly, Davidson's remarks also sparked reflection within some political circles. One Labour insider reportedly told a columnist, It's easy to dismiss Jim as a comedian, but that would be a mistake. When public voices start echoing what voters feel, you'd better start listening. Even some neutral observers agree that Khan's administration could face more vocal criticism in the coming months, not from politicians, but from cultural figures like Davidson who have their ear closer to the public mood. And here's where things get even more interesting. Despite all the backlash and debate, Jim Davidson didn't back down. In a follow-up segment, he doubled down on his earlier comments, saying he wasn't attacking Khan personally, but simply speaking the truth as he saw it. He ended that clip by saying, "If people can't tell their leaders how they feel without being shouted down, then something's broken. And that's not about politics, that's about freedom." And just like that, the conversation expanded far beyond London politics. It became about free speech, about honest leadership, and about whether criticism is being shut down too easily in modern society. So where does this leave Sadiq Khan? He's still popular in many circles, but moments like this remind us that public sentiment is shifting and fast. People want transparency, empathy, and authenticity. They want leaders who don't just talk progress, but live it every single day. Jim Davidson's words might fade from headlines in a week or two, but the questions he raised aren't going anywhere. Because at the end of the day, politics isn't just about policies. It's about people. And right now, people are frustrated, emotional, and hungry for real change. So the question now is, will Sadiq Khan address what's being said outside the walls of City Hall? Or will voices like Jim Davidson's keep echoing louder and louder until ignoring them isn't an option anymore? Whatever happens next, one thing's for sure, London's conversation has just changed.